All right, so we noticed this as we were driving up, and it's, you can see the road here, and literally on the side of the road is this. Massive chamber. And you can see the foundations of it here. Yeah, extreme. Looks like this whole thing has been buried in sediment. Yeah, huge pieces of stone. I think that's tuff, volcanic tuff.
Yeah, you're right.
Pretty wild.
All right, everyone. Welcome back to the land of Chem. I'm your host and the author. My name is Jeffrey Drum. Thank you all so much for joining me again.
All right, everyone. Welcome back. Now, today we continue our exploration of the bizarre megalithic structures of ancient Japan, including an up-close examination of a massive stone circle site, a Kofun, and a legitimate Japanese step pyramid. Ladies and gentlemen, as always, thank you all so much for the support. I think that is it for today's intro. So without further ado, get right to it. All right, everyone, welcome back. And today we are in Okayama City, Okayama Prefecture. My lovely wife Alexa from Alchemy. And the first structure we will be investigating today is this massive site you can see behind me. And I'm going to read you some of the mythology of the site from this little guidepost here. Structure is known as the Tatetsuki Ruins. And there is something at the top of this hill that as soon as I saw this, I knew I had to get here as soon as possible. So there's tons of mythology here in the area regarding these so-called burial mounds and Kofun structures in the area, several of which we're going to be investigating today. So it says here, there's a legend in the Kibi area that tells of how a prince of ancient Japan vanquished an ogre god who tormented the people. This legend is thought to be the model for the famous Japanese fairy tale Momotaro. 5 great stones stand above the Tatetsuki ruins. In the legend, these are said to be the shields that this guy constructed to defend against Ura's arrows. Ura being this ogre god. It is thought that these ruins, built in the second half of the 2nd century, were the tomb of an enormously powerful person. At around 80 meters long, they would have been the largest in the country at the time. So some interesting mythology around these very ancient structures. So it says thought to be built in the second half of the 2nd century as a burial mound. However, what we're going to see today is going to contradict that story. And we've also seen these myths of ogres at other structures. For example, the Oni no Iwaya passage chamber reactor that we visited, the one with the moat and the earthen enclosure surrounding this internal passage chamber system, is also associated with the myth of an ogre or an Oni these, you know, troll-like demon gods. And the stones at the top of this hill are the shields that defend against the arrows of this ogre. There is, as always, I think, important information encoded in that symbolism. So ancient mythology is a way to interpret historical events and also natural forces. And these myths are encoded with symbols and metaphors that were intended to make these stories more memorable. Here we have the entrance of the site. Just by looking at it, I would estimate that this is, so there's, like I said, a bunch of Kofun here in the area. And I would imagine that this entire hill is a man-made artificial structure. So we are here, and we're going to walk up to the top of this thing. And it looks like there's several other sites of interest here in the area. Man, we just had a fantastic little pre-expedition, I guess, breakfast, first meal of the day.
It was a picnic.
A little picnic from a local bakery. And if you want to see all of our culinary and other sort of travel related adventures, go check out our other channel, Let's Go with Lex and G. Link in the video description below.
It's fun.
For all the stuff that we eat and we do outside of ancient technology structure investigations. And I think we'll just keep it rolling and take you with us on this adventure as we get toward the top of the hill. And here's some information. Okay, so this already has my attention.
Oh, Mercury.
Mercury. You can see here. So it does look like they have done some excavations at the site. So we'll just read this information. But I bet you it doesn't say they found any burials. They just have these mercury, not mercury, let me correct that. Vermilion, which is the red pigment that you can see here that's made out of cinnabar mercury ore. See the configuration of the site and the stone circle at the top. Wait till you see this thing. Okay, so the Tatesuki ruins, the burial mound constructed during the late Yayoi period, 2nd century. It is constructed in the characteristic shape of a circle, nearly 40 meters in diameter, with rectangular areas jutting out from both sides. So we have this here and this here, a bit different shape than the keyhole Kofun. Again, we'll see those at the next site that we'll be visiting here today. You can kind of see the keyhole shape here of the mound itself. On the mound stand 5 massive stones, and in the past, round stones were spread on the slopes. In the center of the circular area, a large 9-meter long grave was dug with a wooden coffin put inside. An iron sword, gems, and other burial items were discovered in the wooden coffin, with numerous pieces of cinnabar spread around its bottom. Peculiar, I'm not going to attempt to pronounce that, Peculiar stones, stones inscribed with circular band patterns, were also discovered and received attention for the way they were deliberately cracked. This is a vital site in knowing the changes of burial practices in the transition from the Yahweh period to the Kofun period. And this is saying around circa 400 BCE to 700. So, doesn't say anything about a skeleton or an actual burial being found here. They found the coffin lined with cinnabar mercury ore. And that certainly doesn't mean that said coffin is an original part of the structure either. You see here the location of the central rectangular structure. Some of the items that were found at the site.
Is that red glass?
Yeah, a bead of some sort. Okay. So we've also found this cinnabar mercury ore pigment to be directly associated with other Kofun structures. So before we go up here to the main part of the mound, I think these are some of the other stones that they were referring to that were laid around the structure. I can already see sort of tiers, almost like a stepped pyramid. And oh man, I am already getting swamped with mosquitoes.
Too much sweet.
Just some interesting earthworks around here. There's a big depression here. And we'll go down this way on the way out. All right. Now, the main reason that I wanted to visit this site and yeah, so as soon as I saw these stones, I was immediately reminded of Avebury. And for those of you that haven't seen our on-site expedition to the Serpent Temple complex at Avebury, I'll put in a clip now so you can see the shape and configuration of the massive stones at Avebury. And seeing those ahead of this, I can already see one of these things, and it is way bigger than I anticipated. So we've been investigating some stone circles here that have been much smaller. You know, the ones in Aomori, Komakino and Oyu. They were not this big. But this one, I will say definitely a artificial or man-made hill. This is a huge flat platform. Whoa. I'm not gonna turn the camera around quite yet, because I want you to see the stones at Avebury. That will give you a point of comparison for what you are about to see. So I'll put in Avebury now. All right, and we've just started here near the opening and entrance to the site. This was the first stone that we examined, and these are modern markers where stones would have existed if they were still in their original place. And we're just going to follow the stones and see where the site takes us. And there are sheep turds all over this field. It's like landmines. All right, so shout out to Ancient Odysseys for pointing out that triangular hole. She's the one who spotted it, so that's a genuine discovery on her part. And now that really has my attention, as we'll be looking for similar anomalous holes in these stones. And I will say, it's really freaking cool to be able to get close to these stones, because at Stonehenge, as you saw in the video, you can't get close to it. You can't go on the inner part of the circle. But here, I mean, you're right up close to these things. And I can definitely say that this is a very powerful site, man. It feels pretty wild being out in this field. Look at that. So this piece has to be probably at least, I don't know, 13 feet tall. Man, that is impressive. Stand next to it so they can see a size comparison. And this is just the first part of this little enclosure. It continues around through several fields. And we'll walk through all of these. There's all sorts of interesting holes and erosion in this one. So this is part one of the enclosure. And we're gonna cross across the road, and man, these pieces are absolutely massive across the street. Let's go. All right, we just crossed the road, and I'm now standing in the inner circle of smaller stones. And again, these are small markers where stones would have been originally. And you can see here around the outside, man, these pieces of stone are absolutely massive. just, I mean, immense. As big as anything that you would see in Egypt. And there's no telling how deep these things go into the ground, because they're probably halfway buried for them to be able to stand upright like this. I mean, these two pieces here, these things are huge. Perspective. I mean, here's one side. This is the other side. So this thing is probably, I don't know, 15 feet across, 15 feet high. Huge. And so here I'm at eye level. So this here is about 6 feet. And these stones are sarsen stones. Same type of siliceous sandstone that's found at Stonehenge. So sandstone with very high silica content. And it's starting to rain pretty hard down here, but we're gonna keep on rolling. All right. So now that you have seen us getting absolutely drenched, yeah, awesome times. Here's the stone that was carved, and there's a little kind of museum. I don't know if it's in there, but they said that there was a museum where this stone that they found is still at the museum. It's saying that this stone was once an object of worship at this shrine, which used to be on the mound area. The size of the stone is 90 centimeters by 35 centimeters. Its entire surface is inscribed with circular bands intricately weaving into one another. Another connection to the stone Neolithic work of the passage chambers across UK and Ireland with these spiral motifs. At its front is a relief carving resembling a face. The stone can be seen through the window of the depository. And I wonder if this is said depository here. Oh man, it's a shame they keep these things locked up. Yeah, it's in there. You're not going to be able to see that, but
Do you need a flashlight?
Yeah, unfortunately. Yeah, I can see it through the window, but there's no way you're going to be able to pick that up on camera. What a shame. Yeah, of course they put like the darkest glass possible, but that stone is in there, in this little shrine. Okay. So we have a huge flattened platform here. And then this. This is a pretty bizarre shape here. I doubt that is still intact. And this is the one right here that, I mean, it screams Avebury. And there's all sorts of stones jutting out around the perimeter here. All right, I'll get my wife. Come stand over here and give us a size. My lovely model here.
Wow. This is just like Avebury.
Yeah,
So
it's crazy. Because Avebury also has these very slim stones in terms of the depth of the stone. And you can see Alexa standing next to this thing. Now the ones at Avebury are some of them bigger, some of them approximately this size. And this one here at the center, the tallest of the group. And I'm guessing this is where you know, if there was an excavation up here, you would think that they would. So I don't know if this is built to cover up the hole where they found this cinnabar coated tomb. That's just another walkway to get up here. There's another huge stone jutting out here. There's another large stone facade over here. Oh, just walked into a giant spider web. You know, definitely an artificial structure, not a natural hill. All right, so this is site one on today's expedition. And I was about to spoil the surprise, but you'll just have to wait and see. The last site. And I couldn't believe it when I saw it. So I don't know the geological composition of these stones, but we're going to take out the magnetometer. All right. So on this face of the stone, we have 45, 46 microtesla. And then here, it jumps up to 50, 51 microtesla. Go back around this side here. Yeah, and it goes back down 48, 49. So there's definitely some sort of magnetic anomaly here. Not the strongest we've seen, and typically I wouldn't expect to see much of a magnetic reading unless it was andesite that has a strong or high content of magnetite. So this face is 45, 46. And those of you that have been following along remember our investigations of the Ogami Gaishi. And then it jumps up along the edge here, 49, 48. At Ogami Gaishi, we got crazy high, you know, up into the 500 to 1,000 microtesla. And this is reading all around 47, 48, 49. There are some fluctuations. Again, this edge is down to 42, 43, 44 microtesla. And then 45, 46, 47. Interesting. So it does appear that the faces, let me make sure that's correct here. This one 45, 44, 45. This one's all reading around 44, 45. And this face is up to 48, 49. Interesting. So let's... Okay, so this face... Okay, this face is higher. This face is higher, and we'll see the difference between 45, 46, and 48, 47, 48. Okay. So that's kind of weird. The outside faces, so this face, the face pointing in this direction and the face pointing away, have the higher magnetic reading, which is unusual. Let's go check this one over here. This is 47, 48. And the units on this are microtesla. This is 45, 46. And we'll check this protrusion up here. 48, 49. So this down here is 47, 48. And then when you go up to the protrusion, it goes up to 49. Yeah, so it appears that so again, this face, the one's facing this way, and so the magnetic field on the outside is higher. So that's interesting. Let's check in these little bowls. And it's kind of fluctuating between 46, 47, 48 in that little bowl. I wonder if some of these were originally standing up. It seems unusual that they would have. It certainly looks like a bench. $47, $48. $47, $48. Okay. And I wish I could test the other side of this, the one that's currently sitting on the ground. And I hate to see that, you know, again, according to these guideposts, this is an archaeological excavation site. And according to said excavation details, there should be a chamber here with this mercury cinnabar ore coated container where they found all these burial items, but it makes no mention whatsoever about an actual burial being found inside there. So we are going to do what we always do and take our shoes off and walk around up here barefoot for a little while. And then we're gonna go get some local lunch. Again, if you want to see all of our culinary and other stuff kind of behind the scenes for the things that don't go directly on this channel, check out Let's Go with Lex and G, link in the video description below. Again, my wife Alexa's channel is Archeo Alchemy and the best channel on YouTube. Egyptian trash cats for all you cat lovers out there. And even if you don't like cats, if you like dogs, we have street dogs too. Lucky and Scruffy. All right, so again, I'm gonna sit here and wrap my head around this a little bit. It always helps to take my shoes off and connect to the site and let the site do the talking.
Get some downloads.
Some downloads, yes. All right, we'll be right back. All right, so I'm just walking around out here barefoot. And I will say, I don't know if I'm particularly sensitive to magnetic fields or whatever it might be, but so for example, standing on this side of this stone, there is sort of an absence of pressure. And then when I stand on this side, I mean, I can feel it just standing next to this thing, there's more pressure. You can kind of feel it in your head and in your body and in your ears. And when I walk around this side, that pressure is alleviated. Same thing standing over here on this face of the stone. When I get up against this face, I can feel that pressure in my ears, and it dissipates as soon as you move away from it. So another thought I had, I think it's always good, and taking your shoes off at ancient sites, I feel is an integral part of connecting to the site, both literally and, you know, figuratively and metaphysically. If this was burial for XYZ guy, why is there also this bizarre mythology associated with the site that has absolutely nothing to do with said burial guy, but a completely different mythological figure building these stones and erecting the structure as a defense against, again, these stones are the shields against the arrows of the Oni, this ogre demon god. And when I hear this mythology, so they have the Raijin and Susanoo, which are the gods, ancient mythological gods of thunder and lightning, which are very much demon ogre gods. When you see the representation of these figures, they are demons, they are ogres. Intentionally very scary, emblematic of thunder and lightning storms. So when I hear the shields that defend against the arrows of the ogre, this demon god, that to me is a connection to lightning. And these stones, again, the shields of the arrows from the ogre demon, again, has absolutely nothing to do with burial. Same thing with the mythology at Oni no Iwaya, which was supposed to be a burial structure, that also has this mythology about it wasn't a burial at all. It was built by an ogre demon as a home for his wife. So very unusual mythology there. Again, I think there is, you know, there's alchemical secrets in plain sight wisdom encoded in the mythology. I don't know, I have kind of a weird physiological sensation after walking around up here.
What do you feel?
Very interesting structure and site. Again, this stone here, you could literally pluck this out of Avebury, Wiltshire, England, and stick it right in the ground here, and it would be totally at place within either structure. Here, come stand over here. This is the tallest one, this obelisk here at the center.
This is where I felt the most intense change.
All right, on to the next one. I want to have another look at this guidepost here. So this is the supposed photos of the excavation here. Okay, so this is the repository building here. This is the open grass area, which would make the stone mound over here. So the area that they excavated would actually be here, this area here, because this is, we were just at this repository. There's this big flat area here, This building, these windows were on the back side. The stone circle mound is up here. But here is where the excavations were. Here. That's clearly what it's showing here, is excavations are here. Here, hold this real quick.
Okay.
So again, it's showing that this rectangular thing is right near that center stone. No trace whatsoever remains of that excavation. Hold this.
Okay.
A mound survey map. In the center of the photo, you can see the vivid vermilion found on the bottom of the wooden coffin. The stonework extending from the remains of the wooden coffin to the front is a drainage ditch built like a culvert, which is rare in burial mounds. The bank-like raised area visible inside has been left there to allow for observation of the soil areas.
Wow. That's interesting. At the other Kofuns, we saw channels too.
Yeah, and these are saying the grave goods found at the bottom of the Kofun. And is this one of the standing stones here? How could they? So I guess this is showing the full extent of the excavated area here. So interesting. Again, the mythology of the site doesn't add up to corroborate the burial. I don't want to say it's a hypothesis, because apparently they did excavate the site. They found a coffin and some burial related items, but something about that just doesn't add up.
Even they said it was strange with the channel.
Yeah.
They don't seem
So I guess
convinced.
maybe this is showing the channel that runs out and away from the structure. Okay, pretty bizarre. Now, on to the next one. All right, everyone, I hope you're enjoying the video, and please remember to subscribe if you are interested in the function of the Egyptian pyramids and other ancient structures from around the world. And if you want to help support the channel and get access to exclusive research content, check out the members-only channel, now up to 25 absolute banger videos. We also have 3 other channels. The new name for my wife Alexa's channel is Alchemy, a revolutionary new field of ancient site investigation coined by her exclusively. Let's go with Lex and G, and the best channel on YouTube, Egyptian Street Cats, for all you cat lovers out there. And if you are interested in joining for the upcoming Land of Chem tour, please send me an email to contact@thelandofchem.com, subject line 2025 Egypt tour, and I will send you the full tour itinerary and pricing details. Links to everything in the video description below. Ladies and gentlemen, as always, thank you all so much. Now, back to the video. All right, so we have arrived at the next destination, which is actually this whole thing behind us here. And what do we have here? Some horses. Go check out episode 137, The Function of the White Horse Hill. So this whole thing, and it does look like it's accessible, and we'll be able to get to the top of this. There's a pathway up through here, but this is what it is right here. Check this out. This is this huge structure here. And you can see there's ancillary structures around it.
Oh my goodness.
Kofun, the keyhole shaped burial mounds. And for those of you that have been paying close attention and following diligently on our Japan research expeditions, our investigation of the Ice Age Jomen structure at Mount Roko, the site keeper there, our Japanese druid friend, interpreted the keyhole Kofun structure, including, because these things are typically surrounded by a reservoir. You can see that there's a water-filled reservoir that surrounded this thing. It's a merging of the 5 elements: earth, air, fire, wind, water. Or earth, air, fire, water, ether. So it's a merging of 5 different symbols that come together to create this Kofun shape. And they got a little museum here. I don't know if you want to check it out?
Yes.
All right, yeah, we'll do the museum. And then we'll head up the hillside to site number 2. All right, so just reading the guidepost here, it's saying the exact same mythology. It's the presence of an incredibly mighty and powerful person in the area, led a fight with the prince of ancient Japan, the birthplace of the legend of the defeat of the ogre god Ura. This legend is said to be the model for the famous Japanese fairy tale Momotaro. So the same mythology about this structure is what we saw at the previous site. So again, there's a disconnect for me when there is mythology about a structure that is not associated to burial, but then also calling it a burial structure. All right, so we're going to do the museum here. And there's tons of stuff in this area. Castle remains, other temples, more Kofun. I mean, the area is littered with these structures. Again, we're in Okayama City, Okayama Prefecture. All right, so if there's anything interesting in the museum, I'll be right back. If not, we'll be climbing up the hill, or the Kofun structure. Hopefully this music doesn't get me demonetized. All right, so I didn't want to interrupt that guy's intense focus on the museum presentation there.
He's locked in.
And you can see here the moat that usually, the huge reservoir that typically surrounds these Kofun structure. So what I was pointing at in there, and I didn't want to speak because my voice tends to carry in small spaces. So the structure that we just visited, according to that diagram, actually had a number of concentric stone circles at the top of it. Again, I'm leaning more toward the idea of intrusive burial at the site, where if that is indeed a Yahweh period burial with the wooden coffin that was coated in cinnabar ore, you know, that would make sense, because according to the archaeological record, the cinnabar mine that we visited is also dated to the Yahweh period, where they were mining this cinnabar mercury ore that is specifically associated with Kofun building. They were lining the interior of these chambers or containers inside of these structures with the cinnabar mercury ore. All right, so now we're gonna find the pathway.
Take the next right, then turn left.
Oh, my GPS is still telling us where to go. Turn that off. You guys are really along for the adventure today. I guess this is up. Yep. And
head southwest.
Shut up.
Make a U-turn, then turn left.
Shut up. Sorry, and we're just going to turn this off. So I'm still not sure what to think in regard to these Kofun structures. The ones that we saw on our previous Japan expeditions, you know, they don't have complex internal chamber systems like the Egyptian pyramids. You know, the whole structure, this massive artificial hill, and that's most likely another one here, is for one tiny little chamber in the center of the circular part of the keyhole, the highest point of the mound. And these, I saw a picture on the interwebs that these are cherry trees, and it looked quite beautiful up here when these are in season. Obviously not right now.
Does it remind you of something?
So this whole thing, what's it supposed to remind me of?
Thunder Hill.
Thunder Hill? Okay.
They planted.
Right, yeah. So this is the elongated triangular portion, I think, going in this direction. They have the shrine up here. I think this is the head point and this is the tail. So we're going to check out the shrine first. And for all of you that are watching, we saved the best for last today. And I guess we got to go up the appropriate way through the torii gate. So if you're ever wandering around Japan and wondering which is the appropriate entrance to any shrine, you'll always see a torii gate. So we'll go up appropriate way. Customary bow. Okay, so this is the container so you can see the nub protrusion, very similar to what we see in Egypt with these containers. There's a little hole. There's a hole here that goes out on this side. I don't know if that's original. There definitely appears to be some unusual staining. There's a nice black layer and then some red here. And all right, so before I ring the bell, let's go check this out up here. Now I don't know if this is no, not an ancient artifact, but this is the lid of what sat on top of this thing. And you could see the scale of this thing. I mean, it's massive for all of my American viewers. You know, this is the size of a football field from here all the way down to that end. Yeah, it's the size of a football field, or a, well, if you're in Europe, you would also call it a football field. So it's a massive, massive artificial structure. It seems a higher pitch than the ones where we live. All these bells are tuned to different notes. Here, do that one more time for all you people out there that are listening to headphones. Here, ring it.
Audiophiles.
Yeah, all you audiophiles, this is for you. Ha! Suck it!
Yeah, you tell us.
Such a beautiful sound. All right, so now we're going to walk to the other end. Okay. And much like
This stone here, I think it might be cinnabar.
yeah, that may be a part of the lid
Yeah.
of that container, this piece here. Yeah, maybe a part of the top piece. Cool. I was going to say, much like you know, Christians do at ancient sites, you know, where they stick a church on top of a much more ancient and typically what they would call pagan ancient structure. They do the same thing here in Japan, where they stick shrines and temples on the top of every single one of these ancient sites. I will say, thankfully, in the past few minutes, it has cooled down a lot. It is late September as you're watching, or as we're filming, depends on when you're watching. And a very welcome transition into the fall here in Japan. I don't know why they would pour concrete over all of this. You know, maybe to stabilize for erosion control measures, perhaps. And it's just some information about the excavations. All right, we're going to head up here so we can check out the view. And this may be original here. They excavated, and you can see some posts and some steps leading down. And I think that's what they were indicating here. And there is a little trench of water surrounding this thing. Yeah, you can see the steps here, which I believe is this area over here that they have blocked off and preserved. So unlike the Egyptian pyramids, it appears that these things were intended to be, you know, at least a portion of the structure is intended to be accessible, where you can, you know, probably not just your average Joe, but, you know, you can walk up to the top of these things. You know, why anyone would want to do that. All right, so here is the flattened circular area, and this is a good view. So the flattened circular head of the structure, the burial in the center, and then this part is the triangular tail. And beautiful view of some Japanese countryside. All right, so now, well, lunch first. First things first. And again, if you want to see the behind the scenes stuff, go check out Let's Go with Lex and G. Lunch, and then my most highly anticipated site of this expedition. Something I've been wanting to see since our first trip to Japan back last September, before we decided to get a house here. All right, yeah, it's crazy. All right, we'll be right back. All right, so we were just reading the guidepost here, and it makes references to the size of this structure, 350 meters in length, being comparable to that of the Pyramid of Khufu in Egypt. And the stone container is made of lava stone, most likely volcanic tuff. And they also discovered an andesite slab. Andesite, and we were just talking about that at the previous site, is the stone that is permeated with a decent content of magnetite. So that's interesting to see the integration of magnetite, or rather andesite, into this Kofun. Said most of the structure is made of sandstone, brought from, so the lava stone, the andesite, and the sandstone all brought from various different regions of Japan. Ah, look, look, look. Yeah, that is trouble right there.
I gotta get a picture of this.
It's a nest. These things burrow in little caves.
Oh, a nest of murder hornets.
A nest of murder hornets. Japanese murder hornets. Those things are huge. It's like the size of like my thumb. And there's, I mean, I could see a dozen of them poking their little heads out of that hole.
Disturb them.
Yeah, you don't want to mess with that.
You know firsthand.
Yeah, I told that story in the previous site visit expedition. So I didn't say the aftermath. So it's a funny story. So I knew I had to do something about this massive nest of murder hornets in my backyard that were buried into a retaining wall that I had in my backyard. So I went and got a can of hornet spray, and this stuff can shoot like 30 meters. It has a crazy spray distance. So I put on all the layers of clothes. I put on like long johns, sweatpants, jeans, long sleeve shirt, hoodie, leather jacket. I had like my hoodie tied up and I was covered in all these layers. I put gloves on, put my boots on. I had all the layers of clothes. And I went out there and I got a big, you know, it must have been a, 4x6 sheet of plywood. And I had this sheet of plywood and I got down behind this sheet of plywood in all of my layers of clothes. And man, I sprayed the shit out of that hornet hole. And they were just coming out. I mean, there was hundreds of these things just like fall. It was like a waterfall of dead hornets that were coming out of this hole. One of the most satisfying exterminations that I've ever done. Not that I've done many of them, but there was a pile of dead hornets when I was done with those little bastards. But yeah, that's a funny memory. I remember suiting up, putting all that stuff on. I was like, I'm not getting stung by one of those things. It was one of the most agonizing experiences of my life.
How many times did it get you?
Yeah, 7 holes right above, so like the back of my ankle, right where my Achilles tendon is. I had 7 individual holes where this thing got me. So they can sting multiple times, so it pop, 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 pop. And yeah, I was out for a month. Couldn't put shoes on. Could barely walk. I was in absolute agony. The first week was really rough. So that being said, don't mess with murder hornet holes. And obviously we're in Japan, the home of said things. And they're all over the place, as well as all the other bugs and spiders and mosquitoes. Lex is chewed up. Look at the inside. Well, it's not as bad now, but she had some big welts on the inside of her arm from getting bit by friggin' mosquitoes. So we do this for you.
That's right.
Viewers. You know, bats and snakes in Egypt and all of the bugs here. We've actually seen a snake too when we were at the Kanayama megaliths. Japan Stonehenge. There was a snake there. But you know, you gotta do what you gotta do.
So
all right.
show us some love.
Yeah, show us some love. Subscribe, like, comment. Wait till you see this next one. You'll be blown away. All right, everyone, just a quick announcement. The first book in the Land of Chem series is now back in stock. This gorgeous Egyptian Blue 2nd edition is the exact same text as the first print, but now featuring the new blue color design. Also, a brand new merch shop is up and running, featuring all of your favorite logos, tons of new color options, and my personal favorite, stickers. So whether you are sticking these to the bottom of your skateboard or plastering the walls of your office bathroom stalls, go grab some now and put them everywhere you can find a spot. All available at thelandofchem.com. Thank you all so much for the support. Now, back to the video. Wild drive getting up here.
All the twists and turns. Oh, avalanche. I saw a bunch of shrines.
Bunch of shrines, some interesting looking megaliths. Japan travel adventure advice. If you ever come to Japan and it is your intention to investigate ancient structures, I highly recommend, if you're going to rent a car, because there's really no other way to do it without renting a vehicle. So you will need an international driver's license. And I highly recommend getting a 4-wheel drive KEI car. KEI cars, K cars, have a more narrow wheelbase and they are not full-size vehicles. As you can see from this road, a lot of these back roads here in Japan simply are not made for full-size vehicles. Second, if you get a standard little KEI car that is not 4-wheel drive, you are going to be SOL. Our car, thankfully, is basically a Jeep that has a lift on it and some massive off-road tires, and these little Jimneys are made for off-roading, so it is pretty much the ideal vehicle for this type of driving.
It's perfect. We couldn't get to so many places without this car.
Yeah, we would be again, you'd be in quite a situation if you attempted to access any of these sites with a full-size vehicle. And good luck getting up the hill with the hill climb that we did yesterday.
Oh my god.
That was probably the sketchiest road. I mean, even calling this thing a road is a bit of a stretch.
And then there were sheer drops.
Sheer drops on each side, just crumbling. I mean, paving asphalt is a stretch. Probably the steepest climb that we've done thus far too. I don't know if that was the site.
There's so
I think
many out here.
we're just still climbing this hill. Climbing.
Oh, 2 more kilometers.
Yeah, 2 more kilometers.
Whoa! Is it fun?
I love doing this.
I'm the bus driver.
Whoa,
Oh my god. And they have these channels alongside the road. Your tire gets stuck in that here.
Yeah, you're fucked.
Yesterday we saw 2 baby wild boars.
Yes, we were out for Alexa's birthday week, and we saw some little piglets, wild boar piglets.
They're so confused.
Very cute when they're young, but not so much when they get older. And
Oh, car.
oh. See, this is exactly the situation. That is a KEI car, and I am also in a KEI car. I don't have anywhere to go. This person has a little bit of an edge over there.
Yeah, I think they can scoop back.
I have no room over on my left side. Come on, you have that little bit of an edge there.
Ooh, it's tight fit.
Yeah, there's.
Good work.
I was gonna say, if somebody's coming the opposite direction down this road, you know, usually on these mountain roads, every 100 meters or so, there's a little bit of a shoulder, so that if someone's coming the opposite direction, one person can move over and give the other person room. But here, they have this drainage channel on this side, so I literally have absolutely no room on the left side of the road. The right side is just a drop off,
Down the
no
mountain.
guardrail down the side of this mountain. And we've been going up for what, 5K
Easily.
so far, maybe 7 kilometers up this little mountain road.
5 minutes left. 900 meters, slight lift.
All right, so I think you've seen enough of the driving experience. All right. We will resume when we get to the destination. I'm guessing, from what I can tell, it's at the top of the friggin' mountain.
I think so.
Which is pretty cool. Should be a nice view. We're getting closer to sunset.
Perfect time.
Might be perfect timing. Or we might just hang out up here until sunset.
Too fast.
Speedo down.
Speedo down.
Speedo down. That's an inside joke from our, I guess that was what, September? Our first month here?
Yeah, first
When
time.
we were with Teru, we were in Kyoto doing a matcha making experience where we ground our own matcha.
That was really cool.
And I think the only English phrase that the lady
200 meters,
knew
slight left.
was speedo down, because we were either grinding or mixing the matcha too fast.
We did everything
She
wrong.
would say speedo down. We also did kampai, and we cheers, and she was like, oh, no, 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 no kampai, matcha.
Take the next left.
Take the next left.
Here?
I'm
it says
pretty sure
no.
that says
Nashi
no vehicles. Hold on. All right, yeah. We just go up this trail here. I'll bet you that says no vehicles. Sometimes you don't need to read the language to know what the sign says, and I'm guessing that sign says don't drive your car down this road. I bet that does
Continue
say
for
no
6
vehicles.
kilometers.
All right, we'll be right back. All right, here we go. And for those of you that have watched until the end here, we're going to go down a bit of a rabbit hole as we walk to this site. So there's an unusual period of Japanese history, the Kofun building period. That's during the Yaoi period, but it's also closely associated with a group of people, or civilization rather, known as the Hata clan. And the origin of the Hata clan is a subject of great debate and speculation. And I won't go too much further into depth on that here on the public channel, but you just do a quick little Google search, and I will say that one of the proposed places of origin of the Hata clan is from the Middle East. So let's go. I have a feeling this road up here will take us up to the shrine. So this Kofun building period is a very short and unique time in Japanese history where they were building these massive, I don't want to call them pyramids because they are not tetrahedral like the Egyptian versions, but there are definitely some comparisons that can be made. Cool. Huge torii gate. And the Shimenawa twisted rope and the shide. And customary bow. Now that brings me to my second point. The sort of secrets in plain sight and some of the symbolism in Japanese kanji. All right. And you can see these Shimenawa, the twisted rope that represents thunderstorm clouds, and the shide, lightning bolt symbols. And there's usually a third symbol that represents agricultural material, specifically here in Japan, rice. And interestingly enough, the kanji for the Japanese word lightning, Inazuma. There's two kanji in that word. The first being rice or rice plantation. The second being spouse. So the kanji Inazuma, meaning lightning, directly translates to the spouse of rice. So that kanji is indicating the connection between lightning and its role in the fertilization of agriculture here in Japan, which is obviously a direct connection to my hypothesis about the function of these ancient stone circle systems and the white horse cumulonimbus thunderstorm cloud generators producing these electrical storms, the stone circles providing the target locations for the lightning strikes, which create a chemical reaction in the atmosphere that generate atmospheric nitrate fertilizers. So again, that kanji telling you that lightning is the spouse of rice is literally communicating that same ancient knowledge. And I'm going to keep the camera rolling. I don't think it's too much farther to this structure. I can't wait to see this thing. I believe there's also I mean, we're at the top of a freaking mountain. And I believe quick. Oh, I think we want to continue this direction. Whoa, look at these massive, massive ancient trees. And these are the two, I saw this online, the two sacred trees of the forest here, both with the Shimenawa and Shide. A little plaque here. Well, there's the sun setting over the horizon. I think we're going to have perfect timing for this. You okay? Yeah. All right. Yeah, just tying her shoe. Oh my God, it smells so good out here. And I'm keeping the camera rolling because I want you to see what it's like to roll up on this thing. Oh shit, there it is. I wasn't sure what to expect in terms of the size of this thing. Ooh, we got some good moss covered ground to walk on here. Yeah, we're definitely going to be doing a little bit of barefooting. And it's right over there in the corner. I'm not going to pan over quite yet. I'll wait till she gets up here so we can see it together.
My battery just drained. My brand new battery.
The white one?
A blue one.
Well, I don't know if that one was fully charged. Was
yes,
full?
It was 100%.
All right, so here we go. You ready?
Okay.
All right.
Thanks for reading.
And I'm just gonna let it, I'm not gonna pan directly, I'm gonna let it sneak up on you. Oh, look at that view over there. It's right in front of me, but I've got the camera turned to the side. Yeah. What in the hell is this? Here, you stand right here. All right, so there's Lex. Just to give you an idea, I actually thought it was smaller than this.
Do you think there's something on top?
Well, let's have a look around. I'm sure this thing is telling you, don't cross the rope. You break rule.
Only you.
Oh, yeah. Alexa is a notorious rule breaker.
I got yelled
I think
at.
she got yelled at by a bald monk. All right. And we have some apertures here. So there was one on the front, one here on the side. We can check the cardinal directions to see if those are facing north, south, east, and west. They don't appear to open all the way. Huge outcrop of stone here. There's another one. So it does appear to have these window type features. This entire thing is sitting on a mound of this outcrop of bedrock here. I have to get a little bit closer. I can't say for sure. I thought it was maybe granite, but it doesn't look like granite from... And this is pretty wild looking. Yeah, all four sides. Oh goodness.
What do you see?
Look.
Is that a lizard?
It's another baby cat.
Baby cat.
So we just had an Egyptian trash cat miracle.
Oh, I bet that's Bert's baby.
Yeah, another little baby Bert. Everyone's favorite asshole cat. My little guy Bert. And that's Chica, our gray cat. And that's a little Bert nugget. Yeah, his printer genes are pretty good. All of his offspring have looked just like... So I got distracted there. Sorry. Egyptian trash cats. Go check it out for the saga of our Egyptian street cat and our two dogs. All right, compass. Where's the friggin' compass? All right. So, I mean, it's pretty close. So here's north. I mean, I would say that's pretty darn close. So we're looking off in this direction. There's the window in this direction. Looking out here, you would want to be 180. Yeah, I mean, those are pretty close to oriented north, south, east, west. And let's go over here and check this out. Whoa. Now that, holy shit.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Oh my God. Damn, son. Whoa, okay, so there's the sea, the Seto Inland Sea over here. Whoa. And it may be worth hanging out up here for a little bit.
Can we?
Of course.
It won't be long.
Yeah, not too long till sunset. We'll stay so you guys can see it. I mean, someone picked a pretty good spot to build this thing at the top of the mountain here. And they say this thing is a burial. So we'll come back to the view here in just a minute.
Little museum?
Maybe. It has a little place where you can clean off your feet. I don't know if we were... Anyway, they say this thing is a burial, but it's I mean, it's a step pyramid. There we go.
Oh, cool.
And we'll do a quick little... Oh. I'm just doing a quick translation here. All right, it says the site is located on the summit of this mountain and is a unique stonework structure not seen anywhere else in Japan. It is a roughly square base, broken stones split into 3 sections. The first section is a trapezoid with a good angle and a wide northern side. Third section is a square, but has a large stone created as a hole in the center. I would love to see the top of this thing. You know, if we were in Egypt, where it is the Wild West and there are no rules, I would go over this fence and climb this thing. But since we are in Japan and respectful of the culture, I won't climb this thing.
Looks like someone here.
Yeah, again, this is exactly why you don't want to do these kind of things. You can see the stonework is fallen here. I wouldn't want to risk any damage to this thing. Let's see here. In the center of the stonework, a stone chamber was made. This stone chamber contained an internally manufactured cylindrical object divided into 5 sections, 6 meters in height. Interesting. I don't know. Again, I'm using Google Lens Translate here, so I'm sure there's something lost in translation. The stone chamber on the inside of this pyramid here contained a manufactured cylindrical object. It is said that inside of this chamber was placed a scroll bearing the words Miwa, wheat, and other characters. Judging by the shape of the stone, it is thought to have been constructed in the early Nara period and is considered a 3-tiered stone pagoda. Additionally, 32 large and small stone masonry structures are currently recognized in this area. They resemble designated stone monuments, but their purpose, age, and sound are thought to be different. So 32 others, including this one, makes how many, ladies and gentlemen? Of course, that number pops up everywhere in our investigations. They don't say anything about this being a tomb either. Inside is a cylindrical manufactured object. I'm not sure exactly. Again, there's take that for granted that there's something kind of lost in translation there. I'm not sure what it's implying by cylindrical manufactured object, but there's a stone chamber on the inside of this thing. The guidepost, I mean, they call this a burial site, but the guidepost doesn't say anything about that actually being the case. All right, so we're gonna do some grounding here. Take our shoes off, walk around this area, and we are gonna come back in just a few minutes and take a look at that sunset. Be right back. All right, so we got a second translation of this thing. So in the center of the stonework was a stone chamber which contained a cylindrical ceramic vessel. So that was that mistranslation that was saying manufactured cylinder. So it's cylindrical ceramic vessel divided into 5 sections. It is said that, oh my God, look at that. It is said that inside the ceramic vessel was a small tri-colored glaze and a leather scroll with inscriptions. Again, the stonework remains date to the early Nara period and are thought to be 3-tiered stone pagoda. 32 other large and small stone masonry structures have been confirmed in this mountain range, with this one being the 33rd. And let's see if we can find, look at that. And maybe if we go up here, we'll be able to get a actual view of the sun going down. So that little pyramid, yeah, is the 33rd stone structure up here. And the sun's just out of the view from here. Look at that. And the moon up there. So whatever that stone pyramid is, not a burial. The only one like it in Japan. I don't know. So I'm contemplating probably the best sunset that I've ever seen during an ancient site expedition was at the Hill of Tara. What do you think, babe? Is this one better?
I think Hill of Tara.
Yeah, Hill of Tara that's tough to beat, but this is, I mean, that's just spectacular.
With the reflections of the water.
Yeah.
Mountains.
Not too shabby at all. Yeah, I wish we could see the sun from here, because it's setting right behind that tree.
One branch in the way.
Yep. That's pretty good.
We're so lucky.
All right. Yeah, one more look here. And very soon, all this green will be replaced with desert sand.
Start the cycle again.
As we return back to Egypt. It's getting even more purple.
Get down.
And you can see the sun.
Super orange.
Yeah, Hilitara is still better.
There's a light.
Yeah, shine a flashlight on it. And just one more look at this thing. We're just contemplating this huge, obviously it's sitting on a massive outcrop of bedrock here at the top of the mountain. You know, there's profound energy at this site. Not sure if this is granite. I'm dying to see the top of this thing. And this cylindrical chamber on the inside also has my attention. None of the information says anything about this being a burial, even though they say burial site on the guidepost down at the bottom of the mountain. You know, clearly it's not a burial.
Oh, it looks hollow.
You know, the lintel. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely this little hole here.
Yeah.
There's a, look at my shadow. There's a hole here that looks like you can see into inside of the structure. You know, obviously some archaeological investigation of this thing has been done. Maybe the sign says, please do. Please do climb. All right, you got me, sign. Of course, it says, do not enter. Don't cross the fence. The site is designated as a National Historic Treasure property. So we'll leave it at that. Again, I'm dying to see the top of this thing. Maybe I can do a Google Earth.
Yeah, that's a great idea, actually. You gotta get a drone.
Pretty powerful stuff. And Japan has the best trees on the planet for sure. And today was quite an adventure. And we covered some ground today. So we did that Avebury reminiscent stone circle at the top of a Kofun type structure. We did the second Kofun. And then this, a stepped pyramid in Japan. Definitely not a burial. Pretty awesome stuff. Now that the sun has gone down, we'll go back down the trail in the dark. Whoa! We'll see you next time. All right, everyone, that is it for today's video. This was Sunday Site Visit 118. stone circles, Kofun, and pyramids from ancient Japan. I really hope you enjoyed today's video, and in the next episode in the series, a massive research documentary revealing all of the mechanisms of operation involved in the function of the Red Pyramid. This is an episode you do not want to miss, so if you haven't already, please subscribe to the Land of Chem here on YouTube. If you're interested in the technology of an ancient civilization utilizing physics and chemistry and the function of the Egyptian pyramids and other ancient structures from across the world, if you want to help support the channel and get access to exclusive research content, check out the Land of Chem members only channel and thelandofchem.com. If you want to pick up a copy of the book or grab some merch, links in the video description below. If you want to follow me on Instagram or on X, my handle is @thelandofchem. Also, don't forget, after you finish watching this video, please go subscribe to our 3 other channels: Archeo Alchemy, Let's Go with Lexingy, and the best channel on YouTube, Egyptian Trash Cats, for all you cat lovers out there. Ladies and gentlemen, that's it! Thank you all so much for the support. I think that's it for today's episode. So I will see you next time. Yo, are you still watching this? Please subscribe to the Land of Chem here on YouTube and click that little notification button. New videos coming out every single week. And check out this other episode. Come on, do it. Do it now.